So if you guys want to follow along at all, what I have here is actually the motivation worksheet that I put together. It's out on exclusivetutoringsd.com. I'll post the promo code so you guys can download it for free. So go ahead and download this so you guys can follow along with what I'm about to say here. One of the biggest things that I want to do is start to give more stories about education, because by sharing these stories in education, we're actually going to be able to link our own experiences and link our own struggles to them and help ourselves understand how we can move past these situations. One of the most important things that I want to talk about today is that in motivation, there are three main questions that need to be answered. If the answer is yes to all three of these questions, self-motivation exists and the student will go ahead and do what they need to achieve their goals. However, one of the most important things that links into this motivation issue is something about is how a student perceives failure. And this is something that I find increasingly more and more common, because failure can be categorized in two different ways, okay? Failure can either be a behavior, it can be an action that you have, or it can be an identity, okay? A lot of students mix the two up and failure becomes an identity of theirs. So for example, there are a lot of students that I meet who identify themselves as a student who struggles in a particular subject. For example, I'm a student who struggles in math, or I'm a student who's not very good at reading and writing. And in doing so, they've identified themselves as a person who will never do well in that situation. And psychologically, it creates what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy, and students will continue to reinforce these behaviors. However, if failure is simply a behavior, it's simply an action that has been taken and that we can correct it by putting in effort and putting in time and practice. Well, in that situation, by not identifying as a failure, actually, the student actually has the ability to correct these behaviors. No longer are they thinking of themselves as actually a failure, but instead they have an action in which they have failed. In doing so, they can go ahead and correct the processes. And so that brings me into the first question in my motivation worksheet is, can I do it? Competence. And a lot of students, if they identify as a student who cannot do something, motivation is completely gone. It's completely shot. There's no reason to do something. And so keep in mind, you can hear these things within a student's own perceptions and the way that they explain their own actions and their own abilities. If a student ever says, oh, I'm just not a math kid, or my family's never been good at math, or I'm just not good at that subject, those are identity issues. However, if it's, I failed this test because I didn't study enough, or I didn't get the grade that I needed to because of the time that I spent, then that becomes a behavior in which we can actually fix, that we can actually go ahead and alleviate the issues of by putting in time and practice. And so, go ahead and subscribe to me over on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. What I'm going to be doing over the course of the next couple of weeks is I'm going to be talking about stories of education and the little issues that I've noticed and how we can rectify them, how we can fix these things so that students have all the potential that they have and they can actually achieve that potential that they're capable of. All right. Again, if you guys go over to exclusivetutoringsandiego.com. I've got this worksheet that's put up there. I'm going to link the code down right underneath in the description so you guys can go ahead and download this for free.